Denise Ejo, the CEO of Cornwood Cancer Foundation. I would like to welcome you to our Cornwood Cancer Foundation page. Our goal is to create an awareness of the challenges, support and guidance experienced in managing cancer care for sufferers, family, carers and friends. To engage with us, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, click our notification bell.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us again this morning as we start our program on this edition of the Kakaki Cancer Awareness hosted by AIT in partnership with Cornwood Cancer Foundation. Thank you for joining us, and we are hoping that you're having a fantastic day as we draw to the end of the year. Today, we'll be looking at mental health, and our guest in the house is Dr. Ralph Emeka Ogbolu. Doc, can you hear me? Good morning.
Yes, I can. Good morning.
Nice to see you.
Same here.
After my stress for you last week. Thank you. Dr. Ralph is let me start now. Let me start this very well. So, Dr. Ralph is a native of Aniocha South local government area of Delta State. He started his high school in US, where he grew up until 1978, then returned to Nigeria, and then secondary education, first at CMS Grammar School, which is in Lagos, and then Ajayi Crowther Memorial Secondary Grammar School, finishing his A-levels at CMS Grammar School in Lagos. He gained admission in 1989 to study medicine in the University of Ilorin, Kwara State, bagging his MBBS degree and proceeded to do his housemanship at the University of Ilorin Teaching Hospital and his youth service in Umunze, Anambra State. He went on to in residency training to specialize in psychiatry and was the overall best candidate nationwide in the National Postgraduate College of Medicine of Nigeria Part 1 exam in 2004. He bagged his psychiatrist fellowship in June 2008. Wow, Doc. See, my mouth is also going all over the place. He forayed into private psychiatry, fully running a private clinic until he was appointed a consultant psychiatrist to the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, LUTH, in 2010. He has published several peer-reviewed articles and covering sleeping, suicide, and other topics. He served as the secretary to the Medical and Dental Consultant Association Nigeria, LUTH chapter between 2004-2014, and then chairman between 2014-2016. You are very welcome, and thank you for agreeing to engage with us. We appreciate your time. Gosh, that was hard. Good morning, Doc, and how are you? Please, I have to have a good laugh this morning. It's Christmas time, and we're welcoming our viewers to another edition of Cancer Awareness with in partnership with AIT. Thank you. Now, can I start my questions? Are you ready for me now?
I'm ready. Yeah,
All righty, let's go. So, what's the role of a psychiatrist in the journey of a cancer patient? And at what stage of cancer treatment is a psychiatrist needed?
Ideally, it should be from the beginning of the journey. And the journey starts from when the person is going through the diagnostic process, where they're doing investigations, because that's where people begin to have emotional challenges, potentially, things like anxiety, depression, sleep problems, adjustment problems. So the journey should actually start from there. It's meant to be with initially the psychologist, okay, because the whole process of going through the diagnostic process to find out if the person actually has cancer can be quite difficult for most people. And so initially starting with a psychologist who then, if they realize that this person probably needs more intensive care in terms of mental health, especially with regards to prescription, then the psychiatrist gets involved.
Oh, thank you. That was a nice, brief, and easy, I think, straightforward explanation. And the reason we're actually focusing on mental health this Christmas season is because, as you would appreciate, it is the season where, for a cancer patient, it can be very lonely, it can be very challenging, and because of the phases of the intensity of what's going on around you at Christmas, is it actually a very happy time? It's the new year. And that's why we're focusing on this morning. So I'm going on to the next one, which is, what emotional or psychiatric disorder or complications can a cancer patient develop?
So first, the emotional reactions that people go through, okay? And these may not necessarily be one in a particular order, but people first start by going into denial. Okay, so that's a coping mechanism. And it's okay to initially be in denial, okay? And then after that, people express anger. Okay, they're angry towards themselves, angry towards other people, angry towards God, and things like that. And then some then begin to, bargain, really. Okay. That's when people will turn spiritual and begin to tell God, if you take this away, I'll do this and all of that. And these are normal reactions, and then they go into grief. Okay, now, oh, this has befallen me. And then eventually we hope that people get to the point of acceptance. So these are emotional reactions. Now, during this, and this could occur throughout the stages of the journey, from when you're being diagnosed to when you're receiving treatment, and even to when you're in recovery. Okay. Now, in either of these stages, people could experience anxiety. Okay, they're quite anxious. What's going to happen to me? What does this mean? How will this affect my life? What's going to change? So there's a lot of anxiety, and sometimes that anxiety itself could be a problem for people. Then some go into depression, okay, sadness, extreme sadness, when they come to the realization that, oh, this is actually happening to me. Some experience sleep problems, okay, including insomnia as well. And then some, rarely will you have people experience more severe psychiatric conditions like psychosis, unless they were already predisposed to that or vulnerable to developing that. And then the whole cancer now makes it, more stressful, and then they break down. And then some will experience adjustment disorders as well. Then the other one that you might have to experience is substance use disorders, okay? Because some may turn to alcohol or other drugs just to cope with it. So these are the common ones that you will likely see.
Thank you, Doc, because you see, whenever we start this conversation, I always like to bring back to the reality that a lot of things that have been discussed are real, and a lot of people try to commonize it. And from someone who is in it, I can say, I may be able to say I've been through quite a few. I think in the first group of things you said, I think I just went straight to acceptance, because I was like, well, either you have it or you don't have it, so what next? So that, I think that was quite not too bad. But when we got to going through it, now that's where the mental health challenge really, really hit in. And counseling has now become the norm. A lot of people think, or I believe it's, I don't know whether it's cultural or whatever, but we always have this thing about, if you say you have, you're in counseling or something, people automatically assume you have a mental health problem, forgetting that you're going through cancer and they can't sit on that seat at the same time. So if that's the case now, how can a diagnosis of cancer affect the social life? See, now we've taken it to a different, of a cancer patient, and how can this emotional disorder be treated? Because we still have to live. We still have to, and we hear so many things, and a lot of the time it's very, very painful. It hurts. And you wonder, what's going on?
Yeah.
Our
You're
social
right.
life is a serious.
Yes, yeah, it is. Some experience some isolation because they don't know how to start. So some would isolate themselves, they stop socializing, and that doesn't help. Some don't know how to talk to someone. Who should I talk to? Who can I share this with? And those are things that could affect the person socially. Also, it can impact on the person's relationship, okay, with family, because there are changes that may come along. This is no answer fits all because we have different forms of cancer, and sometimes the social adjustments that come with them may depend on the particular type of cancer that the person has. But most people will experience the social impacts, including financial, because I mean the investigating part, okay, the treatment part is quite expensive, and in our society where people have to pay out of pocket, that could be quite draining. Some people have to travel miles very far away from where they live to receive treatment because not all centers may offer radiotherapy and things like that. So these are all things, and this could impact on the family's income. And if this person were the breadwinner of the family, it's even worse. Okay, so how does this, I mean, the fatigue that sometimes comes with the cancer or the treatment could impact on the person's social involvements, okay? Their caring role for children and things like that. So all of this put together, and that's why we talk about the psychosocial management of cancer. And that's why people are encouraged to set up psycho-oncology teams, which is a sub-specialization in psychiatry, which has a psychiatrist, a psychologist, the medical social worker counselor, and other specialist nurse and other people, because it's a lot. And because we know that those who are better well managed and whose mental well-being, okay, is better maintained, actually respond better to the treatment of cancer, whether it's radiotherapy, chemotherapy, they respond better. If your mental health is compromised whilst you're going through the treatment, the outcome is a lot poorer. So that's why some may say, "Oh, should I be spending money treating my mental health when I'm spending so much on treating the cancer?" But if you look at the cost benefit, then you realize that treating your mental health actually improves how you respond to whichever treatment you're getting. So that's it's really important. It's unfortunate that yes, because of the lack of a lot of these social services, people have to fund these things themselves. Okay, in some parts we would expect that there should be some support in terms of transportation, in terms of subsidizing treatment costs and things like that to help people to go through the journey without becoming impoverished.
Wow, you just hit quite a lot of things at the same time because the cancer experience, yes, the disorder is hard. It's hard. Okay, no, I'm coming out of this now. No, I'm not even going to go into it because, to be honest with you, it's very real and it's very real for me. And when I hear things like this, although I'm sitting and trying to tell people or try to guide people on cancer and on television, it doesn't mean that I don't feel the effect of this thing. So let me just move on to the next question quickly before I say the wrong thing. As you will appreciate, and this is key for me, and it hurts very much, cancer patients face a high level of stigmatization. And how can a cancer patient avoid or minimize stigmatization or the stigma of also seeing, no, the stigma actually of also seeing a psychiatrist or a psychologist?
Yeah.
Everything about this space of a cancer patient is stigmatized, no matter how we want to put it.
Yeah, you're quite right. So you have some conditions that, unfortunately, because of the level of public awareness, okay, leads to those conditions being stigmatized, and mental health is one of those, okay, mental health conditions, and also cancer, as you rightly said. People still have misconceptions about cancer. You'd be surprised that some people still think it could be is effective in
Yeah.
this age and time, and things like that. So this all leads to the stigmatization, and so the only way we can address it is awareness. Okay, continued awareness, things like this, and also with the manpower, what we're encouraging is that rather than if someone who has cancer now develops a mental health problem, all right, rather than ask them to go see the psychiatrist or the mental health team, can you involve the mental health team in their treatment at their cancer center? So that reduces the stigma, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So let them be part of the overall team that's treating the cancer. And that's one way to bridge that gap, or overcome that stigma. The other thing is to recognize that the stigma is not just other people stigmatizing you. One of the bigger problems is you stigmatizing yourself. Self-stigmatization could be a greater problem than the stigma that comes from other people. And so the person first has to deal with the fact that, am I stigmatizing myself? Am I stigmatizing my condition? And it's because people, before they find themselves wearing that shoe, they have looked at people who had these conditions differently. And so to suddenly, maybe you probably had some attitude towards people who had cancer or people who had mental health problems, and you find yourself now going through this. Because of how you used to react to people, you will think that people will react to you. And the problem with self-stigmatization is one of the biggest problems towards seeking treatment, because you initially can't, because you recall how you used to mock people or make jest of people who had these things, and now you find yourself in that situation. But through public awareness, through incorporating the cancer service with the mental health service in the same location, that's how we can address the issue of stigma.
Wow, you just answered a good question for me today. Fantastic. You can't believe it. You don't believe what's exciting me. Self-stigmatization.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that is most probably be the biggest thing for a lot of people, because a lot of, just ordinarily somebody saying, I've got cancer, and you hear families saying, you can't marry into that family. They have cancer. You want to go and die. You want to go and bring somebody. Do you understand what I mean? And it's very hurtful, but maybe you're right. Maybe, okay. I'm not even going to go into that. I'm not even going there. So let's go on. So why do some cancer patients develop emotional disorders, but others do not? And how can a cancer patient get psychiatric help in Nigeria? So now it's a psychiatric help.
All right. So it's almost similar to any other reason why people develop mental health problems. So it goes to the issue of resilience. Okay. In developing mental health problems, we talk about stress. And if the stressors you're going through are significant enough to tilt the balance, a number of people will break down emotionally. What would tilt one person is different from what would tilt another person. Now, the cancer journey itself, through the diagnosis and treatment, is enough stressor for a lot of people who aren't sufficiently resilient, who don't have enough support from other people. And these are the factors that could therefore make them break down. So it is predisposition. That's the basic answer. So some are more predisposed than others. And this happens from other stressors, not necessarily cancer. But we also know that some of the treatment modalities themselves may be more likely, okay, to predispose people to developing some forms of emotional difficulties. So, but that's a completely different, that's a big topic on its own. Now, how can people get treatment? You did ask something earlier on. Is it treatable? Of course, the emotional problems are very treatable. But the key thing is start early, receive treatment early, accept that you need support early. Now, what I would advise people who are going through it is speak to your oncologist, speak to your radiotherapist. Ask them, please, can you link me up with someone who can help me with counseling, who can help me with psychological service, and usually they will. They know who to contact to link you up. That's if they don't already have it as part of their team. So that's
Thank you very, very much, Dr. Ralph. I really appreciate this. Thank you for joining us this morning. And to all of you out there, you've heard the message. If you do need help, it's Christmas time. Please always speak to someone. Find somebody who will give you a hug, who will just say it's going to be okay, who will invite you to come and have a cup of tea or have a drink, soft drink or whatever. Just try and be happy. This is the Christmas season, and so we want to wish you all a happy Christmas and New Year in advance. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for being there with us as we continue this cancer awareness in 2020. We've got one more session before the end of the year. So follow us now on our Commode Cancer Foundation. You can find us on our website. We ask that you subscribe, share, and like our videos to support our awareness campaign, especially as we continue to seek strategies to help cancer patients navigate the challenges they face. We thank you all for joining us. Follow us on our Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn page. We will always be there to talk to you. Have a lovely Christmas. And thank you, AIT, for an awesome year with you this year. We've had a lovely time. Have a good day, everyone.